Good morning, all of you. Today we'll start chapter history number 1, the rise of nationalism in Europe. And the chapters, if you will see in this chapter, image and the image and this figure, this image is related with the dream of worldwide democratic and social republic. And this picture prepared by the Frederick Soreau in 1848. He prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dreams. His dream of a world made up of democratic and social republic, as he called them. So the first print, figure 1 of the series, shows the people of Europe and America. If you will see, you can recognize with them flags, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train, and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. And if you will recall, artists of the time of the French Revolution, they have personified liberty as a female figure. Now, here you can easily recognize the torch of enlightenment. When we are talking about the Statue of Liberty, that is the female figure which we have discussed in the class 9th also. And this is also the torch of enlightenment. She bears in one hand and the Charter of the Rights of Man in the other. You remember, in the French Revolution, we have discussed about the Constitution also, Charter of Man. On the earth, in the foreground of the image, lie the shattered remains of the symbols of absolutist institution. That means, absolutist means a government or system of rule that has no restraints on the power exercised. That means it is a form of monarchical government that was centralized, militarized, and repressive. That means they were shattered on the ground. And in Soreau's vision of society, but it is not actually happened. The people of the world are grouped as distinct nations, identified through their flags and national costumes, leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are US, Switzerland, which by this time were already nation states. What do you mean by nation state? Nation state means they were considered as one nation instead of different states, divided states. France, identifiable by the revolutionary tricolor, just reached the statue, followed by the peoples of Germany bearing the black, red, and gold flag. You just imagine, at that time, When Seru created this image, the German peoples did not yet exist as a united nation, but that was his imagination. The flag they carry is an expression of liberal hopes in 1848 to unify the numerous German speaking principalities, that means different states, into a nation state under a democratic constitution. Following the German people are the peoples of Austria, the kingdom of the two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. And you just see in the picture from the heavens above, Christ, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artist to symbolize fraternity. That means brotherhood among the nations of the world. Or we can say this is related with the, again, globalization, we can. So this chapter, we will deal with many of the issues visualized by Suryu in figure 1. During the 19th century, how nationalism emerged as a force which brought about sweeping changes in the political and mental world of Europe. And the end result of these changes, that is the beginning, that is the emergence of the nation state in place of multinational dynastic empires of Europe. The concept and practice of a modern state in which a centralized power exercises sovereign control over a clearly defined territory had been developing over a long period of time in Europe. But a nation state was one in which the majority of its citizens, and not only its rulers, came to develop a sense of common identity and shared history or reason. This commonness did not exist from time immemorial. It was forged through struggles, through the actions of leaders and the common people. So now in this chapter, we'll discuss about the diverse process through which nation states and nationalism came into being in 19th century Europe. So in the first chapter of the book, we will discuss about all this process, how nationalism emerged around the Europe. First print of artist Frederick shows the people of Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train, offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. At the time, after French Revolution, liberty was imagined as a female figure who held the torch of enlightenment in one hand and the Charter of Rights of Man in the other. And as we have already discussed, in the foreground, the artist depicted the shattered remains of the symbols of absolutist institution, that means monarchical. In his idealist vision, The people of the world are grouped as distinct nations, identified through their flags and national costumes. Leading the procession are the states of United Nations, United States, and Switzerland, which were already nation states at the time. France, with its revolutionary tricolor flag, has just reached the statue. So the concept and practice of a modern state with sovereign centralized power developed in Europe. Nation state was supposed to be a state where majority of the citizens shared common identity and history. Nations began to be personified as, that is, they were represented as a person with characteristics that identify their nation. Mainly female figures were used to portray the nation. In last also, in French Revolution, we have discussed this type of idea also. So this is the introduction of the chapter.